I am here in the Sierra with my good friend Tim from Minnesota.
Hello again.
Trying to get the shadow off his face. And we are going to be kayaking out to an island on this really good sized lake just past Carson Pass. And we are going to be cooking a steak, potatoes. We got a salad that we're going to have. And then we're going to be on this island. And I got a story for you guys. I was out last Friday and I believe I saw Sasquatch at night by myself. That's next. You're fast. Got right up to us. This is called Thunder Mountain right there. That is pretty cool. We're gonna climb that sometime. Not today, but sometime. Yoo-hoo! Well, I'm tracking you like a pro here. Let's see. Wait, there he is.
Hey, it's not a race.
Okay, so this lake is bigger than it looks. We are in the Stanislaus National Forest. Carson Pass is somewhere over my right shoulder here. This is actually called Silver Lake, FYI. And so, yeah, just wanted to say I saw something really interesting just a couple nights ago, and I believe it was a Bigfoot. So I want to tell you that once we get to the island, we have dinner, we're going to sit down by the lake and do a good campfire story. The island is about a mile long. I checked it on the map, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Welcome ashore. Land ho. Let's burn the boats. That's what the Vikings would do. Yeah, we're gonna have a nice, nice sunset on the mountain, and we have looks like a whale coming out of the water right here. Beach whale. Well, here's our little putting green. I guess we could play some golf up here, Tim. Little putting green. That's nice. All right, we're gonna find a nice place to set up our evening camp. It's not an overnight camp, just an evening camp. And should be nice and quiet.
Get out the putter.
Yeah, get the putter. Stuff all laid out. Yes, and the rest of this can go. That can go there. We can. That's set up. And
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna have plenty of taters. They look like poker chips.
Yes.
Like fajitas.
Steak salad.
Beautiful night coming together here. And we got a quick beer before we start the story here. Hopworks Brewery Overland IPA. That is a 6.7 ABV on that. Ooh, oh, not too bad for riding in the kayak for the last hour. Being bounced around in the truck and everything. So, yeah, doing my best here. It's kind of a mess. All right, Hopworks. I love the buffalo. There is looks like a Yellowstone bison. Very hoppy. Wow, it's got a pleasant, bitter finish. It's kind of robust, kind of strong. It's got kind of a strong little kick to it, almost like a slight burn in the throat there. It is a 6.7, almost 7, and yeah, that's pretty good. I can't drink a lot of these. I mean, just one is more than enough for me. It would have been better a little colder, but that's what we got for tonight. I didn't have enough time to leave it in the lake for too long, so pack it in, pack it out. And we have a moon rising over the ridge here, and by Friday, the 8th of August, it's going to be a full moon. It's called the Sturgeon Moon, of all things. So here's what happened. There's this valley that I go to, beautiful valley in the Sierra below Carson Pass, east side. There's a few valleys. There's the Hope Valley, and then there's these smaller valleys with these creeks, very small, windy creeks going through them. This one particular one's pretty good size. This is about 3.5, 4 miles long, 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles wide, and then it's ringed by trees and hills, and then there's towering peaks around about 2/3 of it. And to the south of there is pretty good wilderness, heading towards, I believe, the Hoover Wilderness, and working your way down south towards Yosemite. This is south of Lake Tahoe. And I've been coming out here for a number of years, to this valley where I had this, what I believe was an encounter with a Bigfoot. And I'm going to explain that. It's a very simple encounter, but I don't know what else it could be. So the first time I went to this valley, I backpacked in, and I've told this story before on my channel. Now, this was before I knew really much of anything about Bigfoot. I've never experienced anything. I did find some footprints years earlier, 17 and 18, 2017, 18, 16, 17, and 18. Lassen, Gold Lakes Basin. This particular night, I'm just going to give a quick story of the initial encounter that I had happen in this valley. I did a video about Jim Bridger, and something happened that night, and the next morning I woke up, I walked up to this camera right here, and I said, I don't know what happened, you guys. Something happening kind of weird. I'm still kind of processing it. I'm going to talk about it later. I'm going to have my coffee. I never got back to you guys on it at that time because I didn't know what was going on. Solo backpacking in the Sierra. I went across this creek in this valley that I just told you about. Went up on this, like a knoll, some trees and some boulders. Made my camp, had dinner. And then I went in the tent and I told the Jim Bridger story. I was kind of getting into stories, but I didn't know if people were that interested in history. And I don't have all this time to research all this history to be a historian and be accurate with all this stuff. But I love things like the Lewis and Clark expedition, the Mountain Man, the opening of the frontier in America, and then even Canada and other things like that. So I did this take on Jim Bridger for a while. I'm sitting in my tent. It's after dark, and I just talked about Jim Bridger, had some nice overlays, and then I went to bed. About 11 o'clock, I was still awake, and lights are out, and over my right shoulder, I heard this loud sound 20 feet away. And there was a clearing where I was up in the snow, a big boulder to my left, and this kind of a tree line. And I went, oh, okay, I think a bear, I guess. I don't know. And then down in the little valley, I heard these kind of strange coyote, not these, but a coyote. And they're yipping, but it sounded a little odd. And then the freaky thing was something off in the distance, quite a ways away. My mind was saying quarter mile, half a mile, something just way off in the distance. I heard movement coming straight from my tent through the forest. And this thing got louder and louder and louder until it was right 20 feet away. And it stopped at the little tree line that was outside my camp. And I sat there for a minute. I had this chill come over my spine and my neck. And I went, I don't know what else to do. I got something down here. I got a growl over here. It's kind of seems to be moving. This thing came this way. And I described this thing that was coming towards my tent. It sounded like if a pickup truck, in my mind pictured an International Harvester from like the 70s. I don't know why. But there's no motor in it, but it's just going through the forest, just crashing through the forest. Really loud, really pretty freaky, and it came straight from my tent from a long ways away. And I sat up, and I had my windstorm whistle, and I kind of waited and listened, and I went, I don't know what else to do. I'm going to blast this and see what happens. I covered my ears, this thing's so loud, blasted it 4 times, and all I heard was this loud crashing sound go in reverse gear, opposite direction. I'm using gear because my brain was thinking it sounded like something like a truck or a tractor flying through the forest. And it was going like 25, 35 miles an hour. It felt like. I was no way to gauge it, but it came toward my tent. It went the opposite direction until it just faded out, almost like when you hear an airplane, it's like really loud, and then it just is going at such a rate that it just fades out to nothing. And I sat up for another hour listening, waiting. I wasn't freaked out. I don't usually get freaked out because I'm like, okay, I don't know. It's whatever it is left. It didn't like this whistle, very shrill, harsh sound. This whistle, the windstorm goes up to about a mile away. And it's designed for when people are on boats and they're enjoying the crew and the boat and the party, and all of a sudden somebody flips over the side of the boat. Nobody can hear them scream, so to speak, because they're in the water, the waves are going, the motor's going, people are yelling and having a party. And so it's meant to like get their attention, man overboard. That's the original design for this windstorm. And it even works underwater for like 40, 50 feet and helps with search and rescue and stuff. So that whistle cleared out the forest, whoever was in there, and I woke up the next day and I went, I don't know, guys, something happened, and then I never got back to you guys. So that was my initial experience in this valley. So fast forward, last Friday, today's Monday, a good friend of mine who I work with, and I'll just say that, he's an artist, and I've taken him to this valley on a special occasion to go fly fishing for these little brook trout in this beautiful winding stream. And the trout are very abundant, and he just loved it so much, and he's an artist, and he came back with his wife a number of times, and he came back and took photos, and then he started using the photos to make paintings from, he was just so inspired by this beautiful valley and the peaks that ringed it and the sunsets and the sunrises. He decided to go out last Friday and go camping. Just kind of backpack in, just a short 3/4 of a mile, maybe a mile from the car, off the highway. We pull off this dirt road and we go through the trees, come down this slope, and go into up this knoll. He was on the same knoll that I had this experience. He was on just a little different part of it. And they were out there, and he said, "Hey, if you want to come out there, let me know. We're going to be leaving at 3:30." And so I lost track because he was on the. He texted me, and then he got out there, and I couldn't text him anymore. And hey, I'm coming out. So I went out there. I was working on some YouTube stuff, and I got out there a little bit later than I wanted. But I'm like, okay, well, I really want to see them. They're out there. There's people out there that I know, and I know the area. I know this valley really well. I got the lantern, by the way. I don't know if we're going to need it because we're not going to stay out here till too much after dark. We got to get back across to the boat lodge. So I get to it's not even a trailhead. There's no trail. You just go, get off this dirt road, park, and then you go through the trees and you hit this open valley, and then you work your way across the creek. And I got the Tivas. I just trucked across the river, no problem. And I had my lantern, and I had this thing on a big stick. Now I'm going to grab one really quick. Let's see. Oh. I had a big 4-foot stick, and I put the lantern on the end of it, and I'm combing through this clearing and then some trees, and it was dark enough. It was dusk, sun going down, and all they saw was this lantern, and they thought it was like a torch, like, you know, in Frankenstein where they had the torches and the pitchforks, and they're coming after Frank, and they just see some silhouette of some guy, and my employee that I work with, I'll just keep it at that, said, Chris, is that you? And I went, yes, it's me. He goes, oh my God. And him and his wife are standing there with their tent behind them and their lawn chair, their camp chairs, watching the sunset over this valley. And it's like, oh, I'm glad I found you guys. I didn't mean to scare you. I didn't know how else to find you. And so I'm, with the light, I figured you'd see me from a distance, and I went just sneak up on your camp. Hung out with them, had a nice time. It was just a classic camp experience at night with friends. No fire, which is sometimes it's kind of nice not having a fire because of the smoke and always poking at it and stuff. And sometimes it's nice to have a fire. So, and it was about 10:30 at night, and I'm like, well, I got to get back. I don't have my backpack. I don't have my tent. I got 3/4 of a mile to go. I know right where to go. And I kind of marked my route. I'll get to that in a minute. And I said so long, and they saw me slowly kind of walk off with the lantern back up on this big stick. And it illuminated this whole area as I walked around me. And then I had the spotlight in my left hand, the floodlight that I use. It's a decent one. They make them where you can, I don't know, a 1/4 mile away, and you're seeing things. So I come down this knoll. I find the exact spot where I crossed, which was the lowest spot. Got across the creek. Got up, worked my way across the meadow, and I was so accurate. I even found this mason jar that I had found on a previous trip out there. I was like, oh, there's that mason jar. And I just put it right back. It was a little jelly jar, mason jar or something. I don't know, somebody from a long time ago. And then I had the hardest time finding the right exact access point to go through the trees up this slight slope right to my truck. And if you're in the forest at night and you don't know exactly where you're going, you think you're going straight and you start doing this, you could go right past your truck, your camp, your cabin, whatever, and you're toast, because you could just keep going, and now you're, heading off into the dark wilderness. And so I went back and forth in the bottom of the valley before I got into the trees, and I marked this one pine tree, and I took some branches. I took some, like this branch, and I put it in the bough of the tree, and it had extra branches, and I kind of wedged it into the bough so the wind wouldn't blow it. And then I laid some sticks up against the trunk, kind of like that. And I went back and forth, and I started to feel the panic come over me just a little bit. Here's how this works. You just hike through the wilderness like this at night. And my goal wasn't to be wandering around the wilderness at night, but I was comfortable enough, and I really wanted to see them in the summer. And I was like, there's friends out in the right where I know, so I'm going to go out there. I found the exact spot, and I was like, okay, good. I was relieved, because there was almost like an alleyway, if you want to call it that, where the trees are pretty straight here, and it's pretty straight here, and there's this marsh with almost like a spring going down the middle, and the trees don't seem to grow in it, so it creates this canal avenue, whatever you want to call it, and it takes me straight up to my truck. But at the top, there's a couple of big trees, and you got to navigate around it, and then there's a clearing, and then the truck is kind of off to the left on the other side of this fence, and at night, everything is more complicated. So I'm going up through this forest, feeling good, feeling comfortable, got the lantern up high, no sounds, stars are out, moon is about half a moon, there's a little bit of a light from the moon, not a lot, and I'm getting chills thinking about it, oh my God. And I kind of get a little lost by this big tree. I'm kind of going, do I go left or right? Because I know I got to go straight, but I got to navigate around. And my hair looks terrible. Hairhead. And I get a slightly off my course. I'm right there, but it's dark and you can't quite see the truck yet. And I got the remote, right? So I can hit it and get the horn beeping and do things like that. And up here, I'm doing, isn't that great? Just drop it right in there. Don't lose the key. And I can't find it, and then all of a sudden I go, oh, and I got this floodlight, handheld floodlight lantern. There it is, I can see it. Soon as I saw it, I turned, and there was this little clearing, maybe 50 feet long, 35 feet deep clearing, and there's a tree line, and then there's this couple of big trees I just navigated around. My truck's over here, and I hear movement in the brush. Crunch, crackle, 3.5, 4 seconds. Just enough to catch my attention. It's like, okay, all right, get the lantern. I'm kind of like, okay, there's an animal. Right away I think, okay, maybe a deer. Deer aren't really active at night. That's when the predators are out. Bobcats, mountain lions. Deer tend to quietly bed down. They're not grazing and stuff. And I was like, I don't know. Start scanning this tree line 25, 35 feet away with the floodlight. And then I catch a glimpse of some movement, and I see this white light. And I look at it a little bit longer, and it looks like two white lights like that. Eyes. They're staring right at me. They're on the right side of this aspen tree group, and I can tell there's a lot of brush back in there. And I went back tonight, and I looked at this brushy area where I saw these eyes looking back at me, covered with pine cones across the bottom, these big, huge pine cones. I did not hear any more sounds, nothing, no sounds. And I saw these white eyes reflecting at me, looking at me, and they're doing something like this. I'm going to kind of mimic it. It's going, these are the eyes. Pretend that's two eyes. Don't ignore my hand. And it was like back and forth, back and forth. It kind of went down, and then it went up. Really pretty tall. 18, 20, 22 seconds, and then it went zoom to the right, and it was gone to the right. And I was like, okay, all right, well, it's whatever it is that's watching me. And I was thinking, it's not a bear. Bears don't just sit there and scan people. And it was too much brush, pine cones, tree limbs back there where it was. And I checked it out tonight in the sunlight to be a bear. It didn't make any sound. And I was like, okay. And I had this calmness come over me. And you know how they always talk about fight or flight? You don't choose fight or flight. Your body just reacts and you do it. Like you hear something and then all of a sudden your body just wants to run. Or you just start punching, which is your fight. My body, and I think I've read enough stories, I've had enough experiences where I just went, I don't know, fight's not going to work for me, flight's not going to work for me. And it wasn't logical. I just had this kind of a peace. I was like, okay, something's staring at me, but it's black again. Then on the other side of this aspen group of gnarled aspen trees and brush and broken tree limbs and a downed tree and pine cones, I saw the eyes come out again from the left side now. It went from here, it went, all of a sudden you see these eyes kind of low, kind of moving, just staring right at me, 25, 35 feet away. And then it went up pretty tall. And I went kind of measured in there. We're in this 6.5, 7.5 feet tall. I guess it was just lights, or eye shine. And again, 15, 18, 20 seconds. And then it kind of turned sideways and kind of went off in the opposite direction, and it was gone or off. And I kept shining. I couldn't pick up any more light. Did not hear a single sound. No crunching, no branches breaking, no grunts, no nothing. And I'm standing there with my floodlight and my lantern in this meadow, and I actually stood there for probably another 10 minutes. Like, okay, he's there, I'm here, maybe he's gone, I don't know. And I started talking a little bit to it, made some noises that were kind of pleasant, Bigfooty kind of noises. And I just like, okay, I don't know what to think. I think I just experienced a Bigfoot. And it was interesting that I was just about to turn to go to the truck, and then all of a sudden I heard the crunching. It caught my attention. I went and investigated, and that's what I saw. At one point, I turned the lantern off, and I sat down in the dirt on my knees, turned the floodlight off, and I just listened. And I've learned that with something like a wild animal, particularly Bigfoot, which is a pretty wild animal, it's best to be cool. It's best to play it as cool as possible. And so I sat there in the dark, in the wilderness, stars overhead, and I just seen possibly a Bigfoot staring at me. And I went, okay, I still feel calm. And then I eventually receded back to the truck. And then I couldn't find my wallet in this carry bag that I have. And so I had to open the doors on the truck, and I'm kind of moving around the truck looking for my wallet. And I felt really vulnerable because I'm like on my knees looking under the seats like, okay, did I leave it at home? I think I did. And I was like, crap, but I have to double check, because if I threw it on the ground when I was packing my backpack, which is what I did to do this little trip out to see my friend, I might have set it on the ground and left it there. I didn't want to leave it there. And now it's not at home. Turns out it was at home, but I felt really vulnerable with the lights on in the truck and everything. And then I just started up the truck, and I yelled something to whatever this was, if it was still out there. I said, all right, thank you. Have a good night. And then I drove off this dirt road and hit the pavement and went home. That's my story. And that valley there's something going on there. I haven't found footprints there, but that area is pretty wild country. This whole area up here and it's just on the other side. It's that way. So that's our story for most likely, probably something like a Sasquatch, Bigfoot, cryptid. Bear couldn't do that in the forest and not be that quiet. I don't know. I didn't see a silhouette with shoulders. I didn't see come towards me. I didn't hear anything else. I didn't even feel a presence outside of what I just visually saw. I didn't feel watched or anything. I don't know. But I will go back out there, and we're going to camp there someday, and I'll take you guys with me. So, all right. We got the sun going down. Tim has been working on, I don't know if you can see him back there. There he is. Tim, say hi.
Come and get it.
Come and get it.
Dinner's ready.
Yay. We got to get you a dinner bell. Ding, 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 ding. The triangle.
More cowbell.
More cowbell. All right. I got to look at the camera. I'm tempted to look over here. I want to make sure I'm not like, hey guys, Chris here. Do that for an hour. Oh my God. All right. Still drinking this beer. It's getting warm on me. So, Chef Tim.
Got a first course there
Look at that.
for Chris. Slaving away here
Ooh.
over the fry pan. Was telling stories.
Yes.
Busting my
Look
butt.
at that. Busting your butt. I was busting my mouth open like I
There
always
you go.
do.
Telling it like it is.
I like having
Here we
catered
go. Here's the
service.
steak.
This is great. We have to have catered food,
Seasoning on here.
catered service. I don't.
Salt and pepper, a little lemon.
I mean, I'm
garlic.
eating out like a foil bag, for gosh sakes.
There you go.
That's not the way to fly. We got the chef here doing the steak. What's the name of this?
That we're having a
Tim's-
chicken strip
Chicken.
New York strip salad. This is street corn bag salad. put together.
Tim's super sirloin surprise.
Thin sliced potatoes.
All right, we're gonna zoom in on it.
There
Now
we
we
go.
got the salad here.
Salad put together. This is
Okay, Okay, and then he's doing his now. It almost looks like a shrimp, like a steak shrimp.
Don't be fooled.
Don't be fooled.
We're by the water, but
All right,
that
nice
is
work,
cow.
nice work, my man.
There it is, Pete.
There it is. Look at that. Oh yeah. Oh, beautiful. This is for the people back home in Minnesota. We'll get the.
So am good. Son. Good dinner though, huh?
Yeah, it's excellent. It really is fun having the salad mixed in. Yeah. And it's got a little kick to it. All right, so I'm going to run off, leaving Tim once again to do cleanup now.
Hey,
He did
where
the
you going?
he did the shopping, the cooking, the cleanup. I did the eating part. That was pretty good. The eating part's pretty good, ain't it?
Thank you for shopping.
I went shopping with him, but he flipped out the credit card, so I don't know what the heck I did. I burped or something after the dinner and said, thanks. So we're going to get a couple of shots here before this crazy sunset departs from us, and they go fast. So we're going to do I got a special spot. All right, you guys, thank you for watching. That was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed our dinner and telling you this crazy story that I had. And Tim did most of the work. I just showed up and told the story, drank a beer and ate and took a couple pictures, but that's half the fun.
That's right, and that's why I look like Santa.
Yeah, that's half the fun, is having all the fun, and then he had all the work. So it works out for everyone, right?
That's right. We all enjoyed it.
We all enjoyed. So, all right, you guys, we'll see you in the next one. As always, keep hiking and take it easy, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.
See ya.